you tell us what is course bidding system?
Course bidding system is essentially a system that allows students to choose electives. In higher education institutions, especially business schools, law schools, and universities, typically students are offered a lot of elective courses. There needs to be a fair and transparent allocation of electives. So there are various approaches to this problem. One of the approaches is, so broadly we can kind of say there are three approaches to this particular problem. First one is FCFS based, second one is closed bidding system, third one is live auction based open bidding system. As EDTEX, we have implemented all the three systems at different business schools and universities. First, I'll start with FCFS based allocation. This system we have implemented at OP Zindal Global University. So what does FCFS based allocation actually does is students can select courses on a first come first serve basis. So when students open the bidding round, essentially they are shown the list of courses. Students can click on a particular course and then they get it. So usually, let's say for instance, there are 60 seats in a particular course. Students who kind of maybe select the course first based on the time, they'll be allotted this particular course. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Like, what are the pros and cons of this particular system, right? The pros of this particular system is it's a very simple system. Students can understand this system very well. Essentially, even allocation is pretty simple. One of the cons, like, what are the cons of this particular system is, first of all, it is luck based, and there is a lot of pressure on the students while selecting the courses. There is a lot of pressure on the administration as well as the overall system, because the entire selection happens in less than 5 minutes, right? There are courses where seats get over in less than 5 seconds, so it adds a lot of pressure. The second approach that we have is closed bidding approach. In the closed bidding system, each student is given some fixed number of bid points. Again, this could be based on the number of credits that they are supposed to do, the program that they belong to, etc. There are various factors that are there while allotting the bid points. So in the closed bidding system, what happens is students select the courses of their choice and assign bid points. And students will have some insights about how many bidders are there for this particular course, what is the median bid for the particular course, what is a median bid, and number of bidders are there for a particular course, etc. This the positives or the pros of this particular approach is basically there's not much pressure on the students, because the entire allocation happens over a period of maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours based on the configuration, right? And even on the system, there is not much load essentially with this. But what are the cons of this approach is students may not know whether they'll get this course or not. They can kind of bid for it, but they doesn't really know whether they kind of get this particular course or not. So that's a major. So we have basically this is essentially a visibility challenge in terms of whether I'll win this course or not, etc. So that's the cons of this particular approach. But this particular system is very useful in a university context. Why? Because in universities different batches do different kinds of credits, or maybe there are university wise electives, there are major electives, there are maybe certain, like maybe there are certain there are certain courses that everybody has to do. A lot of challenges, right? In a typical university scenario, maybe closed bidding system may be the right system. And this third one, which is live auction based bidding system, in this particular thing, again similar to the closed bidding system, here also students are allotted bid points. And now again they select the courses and then assign bid points to it. Here the advantage is students get to know in real time what is the clearing price for each of the courses. So that allows them to kind of modify their bid points. In the sense, like let's say for instance, if I'm not winning a particular course, maybe I can kind of increase the bid points for that particular course. So here is a big advantage is you get to know whether you're winning the course or not, and you can kind of change the bid points, etc. As a student, you can kind of control the outcome, which is not there so much in a FCFS based allocation or a closed bid allocation. Again, pros are a lot of transparency, visibility in terms of how allocation is happening. Student satisfaction rates are very, very high with respect to live auction based bidding system. Cons are sometimes there could be some kind of a herd behavior, in the sense like, okay, too many students are going for a particular course, and then maybe students may kind of go towards that particular course, or like stu- courses which are not having enough demand, maybe their demand kind of might slightly decrease. But these are the three different approaches to the course bidding process. And as edtechs, we have implemented mostly live auction based bidding, but we have also implemented closed bidding at ISB, Shivnadar University. We have implemented FCFS based allocation at OPs in the Global University. We also handled, batch sizes up to like, 7,000, 8,000 students overall.
How can edtechs help a university or business school in implementing a bidding system?
Yes. So basically, the way edtechs can help a business school or university is, edtechs has a lot of experience in implementing the bidding process. So the first implementation happened in 2015, almost like 11 years ago, where we implemented bidding system at IIM Ahmedabad, and later on we have improved our own system. We have rebuilt the system at least four times to the current system that we have right now. So the way we can kind of help is during the discovery itself, right? So we have a team of experts who have a lot of experience running the bidding systems. So we kind of understand, what are the kind of challenges that you have, how many programs do you have, what kind of electives do you have, what kind of processes that you currently have. During the discovery itself, we kind of recommend in terms of, what should be your the allocation policy, what should be your bid point policy, several other things. So in case you are looking for, maybe, auditing your current allocation process, we can kind of help you out in terms of, what is the we can study your current process, and we can recommend what kind of changes can be done, and we can also help you build a comprehensive bidding system.
Can you walk us through a full cycle of bidding at a large business school or university?
Yes. So in a large business school, essentially, the bidding process happens over maybe a duration of 2 weeks. Essentially, although the active durations are very small, but it happens maybe before the active bidding round, 1 week before. Essentially, there is something called demand estimation that happens. The idea behind demand estimation round is to understand or to gauge the demand of various courses. So typically in an IIM Bangalore or an IIM Ahmedabad, what happens is, exactly 2 weeks before the bidding process starts, we do something called demand estimation round, and we understand demand for various courses. This helps the program office in two things, right? It helps them to kind of plan their offerings. How many sections should we offer? How many seats this particular elective should have. This also helps institute in kind of preparing a schedule. So that's the first thing, which is the demand estimation round. After the demand estimation round, there is something called a mock bidding round that we do to the students. See, essentially, in a duration of 1 year, student does, bidding for like three terms. In some cases, it's only like, they do bidding for the entire year in one go. Students need to be very much aware of how this entire process happens, right? So for that, we get to kind of give that experience to the students. We do something called a mock bidding, so that they get to understand, how do we do bidding, how others are doing the bidding, etc. So there is something called a mock bidding that happens. After that, there is a live bidding round that happens. In the live bidding session, essentially there are like, 5 6 rounds, depending on the university, depending on the business school or university or law school, right? So first there is something called a bidding round, wherein students bid for courses, followed by something called a confirmation round. Once the bidding round and confirmation round one is over, then we have bidding round two and confirmation round two, and then we also have a waitlist generation round, and then an ad drop round. So at the outcome, at the end of this entire exercise, there is something called, some students will have confirmed seats allotted to them, and for some students they may be on the wait list. So students who are on the wait list, there is a third session of bidding, which is called, the ad drop round two, or in some cases it's called a shopping window, essentially, right? In this duration again, what essentially happens is, students who are on the wait list, they may get seats allotted. In what Why they may get seats allotted is, maybe in some courses seats might get, somebody may drop that particular course, or seats may get added, right? in that kind of a scenario, people who are on the wait list can actually, get the seat allotted. And some students also kind of drop the courses, whether it could be confirmed courses or waitlist courses, etc. So essentially, it is like the demand estimation round, and then you have a bidding round one, confirmation round one, and then you have an add drop round. In some cases, we also do bidding round three, wherein this is like, in case some courses get dropped, people who are affected by those drops may have something called a bidding round three. That happens actually after the live bidding round, maybe 1 or 2 days after the live bidding round. So this is how a comprehensive bidding cycle looks like. You don't need to do anything outside the system. Everything starting from planning the number of courses to be offered, number of sections to be offered, number of seats to be offered, till the last seat is allotted. Everything can happen in the Registro bidding system.
How does the bidding work when there are multiple programs or student batches?
Yes, this is again an interesting thing. This is something that we have done in some of the business schools. Like uh, I am Bangalore. I can also remember Goa Institute of Management, IIM, and then even I am Kashipur. Right. So when there are multiple programs, each program students may want to achieve different things out of the bidding. Let us say, for instance, at IIM Bangalore itself, right? We have a PGP program, we have an EPGP program, we have PGP BA program. Likewise, we have multiple programs. So what happens is when multiple programs are coming together for the bidding, it's very important to ensure that allocation is still fair, because students with higher number of bid points cannot kind of should not kind of come after courses, and then there are we need to still ensure there is a fair allocation that is happening. So for this, what we have done was, so we have for this what we have essentially done was, we have kind of designed a bidding process in such a way that the round one happens within their own program, which means there are certain quotas that will kind of be there for the courses, and each EPGP students will not kind of maybe bid with PGP at the same time. EPGP students may come to the bidding with 600 points, whereas PGP students may be coming to the bidding with 1,000 points, right? If both of them are trying to kind of select the same set of courses, it may be a little unfair, because somebody may have larger kitty of points, somebody may have lesser kitty of points, etc. There may be some fairness challenges. So what we have done is, in this kind of a scenario, we kind of kept the round one within their programs, and in the round two, whatever seats that are left after round one will be available to anybody in round two. Essentially, again, this ensures that whatever, see it, one of the objectives of the bidding system again is, if there is a demand, right, and then there is a seat available, it should be kind of given, right? So that is, so in a multi-program context, essentially. So what we have done was, we have ensured that there is a bid point policy is kind of designed keeping in mind multiple programs. The entire round design is done keeping in mind again multiple programs. The first round is within their own program, second round is maybe across various programs students come together, because there are some seats available in PGP students are not taking, but EPGP students are interested, so they can kind of take it. And subsequent rounds also, maybe the waitlist generation and subsequent add drop rounds, all the programs come together and do it. But this allowed, in IIM Bangalore, essentially this allowed better utilization of seats in a particular course. See, otherwise, what was happening earlier was, the same courses being floated by for EPGP program separately, PGP program separately. Each of them have seats available, seats not fully filled, etc. So this allowed, this kind of created, or this allowed IIM Bangalore to kind of efficiently provide their course offerings.
When does a university or a business school know that they need to go for a new bidding system?
Okay, excellent question. So I'll kind of talk based on my recent experience. So one of the schools from Milan, SDA Bocconi, reached out to us. So why did they reach out to us? Because they have a lot of offerings, like they have student exchange offerings, they have study tour offerings, they have elective offerings, etc. Students start to feel that the allocation is not very very fair, etc. So usually you hear from the students that this is not very fair process, etc. So I think in case you are hearing that as administrators, in case you are hearing that kind of feedback, that means it's the right time to kind of relook at the bidding system. So at EdTeX, we also offer you a free audit of your bidding process. Maybe if you're a dean or you're an associate dean managing the bidding process, and you want to kind of get our insights in terms of what can be done better with regard to your process, we are happy to help. It's a free audit. Essentially, we can help you, give you insights, because we have an extensive experience of almost like 11 years just building bidding systems, right? We can kind of provide that kind of a free audit for your bidding process.
How does the system help program offices?
Okay, great question. So again, this whatever the live auction based bidding system has very limited very limited work for the program officers. They don't need to intervene much compared to a closed bidding system, essentially, because the duration is very small. So basically, the way the live auction based bidding system helps program officers is, during the bidding round they have visibility in terms of what is the demand for various courses, how is the student behavior for various courses happening, and after the bidding round, edX provides live dashboards, wherein you can kind of understand the behavior of the students, what are the clearing prices in maybe round one, what are the clearing prices in round two, and how is the demand for various courses looking like. How much, let's say for instance, if a course has 120 seats, what are the maximum bidders at any point in time? Did it cross 200 for a 120 seat kind of a course? So this helps them, this gives them insights that allows them to kind of plan for course offerings the subsequent year, etc. And they also have dashboards, faculty wise, course wise, program wise. They also get to know how many students have met the credit limits, how many students are yet to meet the credit limits through the dashboards. So it's very very seamless work, essentially, for the program offices. edtex also has a very good customer success team that helps them during the data upload process or the entire system setup. During the bidding also, if they need any kind of support, we provide live support both for the students as well as the office. And the post bidding also, in case they need any specific reports for their integration with ERP, we also do integration with ERP in certain cases, essentially. So we kind of provide you very good support to the program office for this entire duration.
Can you speak about some of your case studies in business schools, law schools, and universities?
Sure. So I'll start with IIM Ahmedabad itself. This is our first implementation. This happened in 2015. Why did IIM Ahmedabad come to us, right? So IIM Ahmedabad had an auction-based real-time bidding process, but the system was not scaling. So it was built when they had 250 students or so. When the student strength increased to 400, so this is bidding is essentially bidding is technically a challenging problem, actually, because there are 400 students, or 700 students in some cases come together, real time bid for courses, and the data refresh also. Everybody should see the almost close to a real time data, because technically building something like a bidding system is very challenging. Not only the process, even building it technically is a huge challenge. So it was more of a technical problem, technology problem that they had. We have solved that first, and later on also we have improved their process. So although we started with the live bidding initially, later on we realized that their waitlist process is very manual. Academic secretary was spending around 4 hours every day just to kind of do the waitlist movement and then allot seats to these students on the waitlist. Then it was a very manual process. Then what we have done is we have automated that entire process. Today, academic secretary spends less than 5 minutes every day just to kind of update the seats. Beyond that, there is no manual work. So that was what we have done in IIM Ahmedabad. IIM Ahmedabad has been using this system successfully for the last 11 years. And then I'll talk about IIM Bangalore. IIM Bangalore, their challenge was they had multiple programs. Their bidding process was mostly like closed. It was taking a lot of time. It was taking several weeks for them to kind of do the bidding when they reached out to us. And we kind of simplified their entire bidding process. We designed their multi-program system, bidding bid point policy, how should this entire round design should be, that we have kind of designed. The, we have onboarded IIM Bangalore in 2018. Again, close to 8 years of successful uh, system running at IIM Bangalore. And third one I would talk about is ISB. ISB was a very recent case study for us. So ISB was moving from open bidding to closed bidding, which is a very different scenario essentially. But they were very clear in terms of what kind of round design they want to have. How EdTex helped essentially them is we provided our own insights in terms of the process, which slightly improved their process. Maybe we have improved their process slightly by around 20% at ISB. And we have kind of built a very comprehensive system. We kind of also told them what kind of edge case scenarios that might come when they're kind of running the closed bidding process, etc. Again, with ISB, it kind of runs all through the year. We have supported both their PGP program, which is the regular flagship MBA program, and PGP-YL, which is for the younger batch of students. And third one that I want to talk about is Opizindal Global University, which uses first come first serve based system. So we implemented Opizindal or we implemented bidding system at Opizindal in 2017. Again, almost 9 years ago. First, we started with first come first serve based approach. We used to do bidding for each semester separately or each school separately. We used to do bidding in 10 different sessions. Around 2021, they came to us saying, we need to do the bidding for the entire university in one go. Right? It was a very, very hard problem. Again, you are we are doing bidding for 8,000 students in using first come first serve is a very, very technically very, very challenging problem essentially. So we used in-memory databases and we used different kinds of techniques to kind of solve the problem for OP Zindal. Again, the system has been stabilized. Today we support the bidding. Most of their bidding happens in the first 10 minutes, right? It's like a rocket launch thing, right? If you kind of make one mistake, everything fails. But we have built very, very good system for OP Zindal. Another case study that I want to talk about is Shivnadar University. They reached out to us around 2 years ago. There we were very much involved in the process design. They came up with some process, but we have significantly helped them in designing the entire process, rounds, bid point policies. They have UWEs, CCCs, etc. So we have kind of done their entire process design and we built the system. Recently, we have kind of taken their system live. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was Goa Institute of Management, where they have multiple programs and then they have different kinds of courses, etc. Again, this is similar to IIM Bangalore. We have also recently implemented this system at IIMI New Delhi, Bhubaneswar, and Kolkata campuses. We are also kind of designed a process for them to select. They have something called a track system that they have introduced recently. Again, we have designed a bidding like a bid point through system, bid point come CGPA through system to for the students to kind of get their tracks. Yeah, another recent case study was SDA Bocconi. XDA Bocconi came to us almost like 2 years ago. We had multiple interactions. So we also helped them, design the entire process. So it's a very interesting thing for SDA Bocconi. They have close to 130, 120, 130 students, and then they wanted to use bidding system for selecting their exchange schools, study tours, and major electives. So what we have done interestingly there was the bid point policy. First of all, some of it is fixed, some of it is variable based on the CGPA, and then students have to use this kitty of bid points first to select their exchange schools, then to select their study tours, and then finally to select their major electives. This system is very much relevant for maybe schools in Europe region where we have small batch sizes. You really do not have problem maybe in the elective side, but you have challenges in the exchange side or the study tour side because there are very limited seats. So this system, this case study could help you in terms of uh, give you an idea in terms of how to kind of implement a bidding system for selection of exchange schools, selection of study tours and major electives.
How is the student feedback for the course bidding process in general?
Okay, so for the live auction based bidding, essentially, students are extremely happy. To be honest, even when I was a student, I used a bidding system, that gives you a lot of thrill because when you go to the bidding system, at least live auction, I'm talking about the live auction based open bidding system that we kind of do. Students students go with some kind of an anxiety about whether whether we'll win this course or not. So students go with certain portfolio of courses. If they win, I mean, the satisfaction is very high. Usually, based on our feedback, also we are around 4.9 out of 5 in terms of the oral student feedback. Students are extremely happy unless they don't have a right strategy of bidding, etc. Otherwise, student satisfaction is very high.
What are the common challenges institutions face while managing course bidding?
Yeah, so common challenges institutes faces. I feel typically the bidding process that the institutes have is not very comprehensive. At least when wherever we kind of go for implementation, we understand that there are certain gaps there. See, bidding again, implementing a bidding system is not like 1 year exercise or like maybe a one-time exercise, right? We need to kind of go through multiple iterations. So even let's say process that I am on the birth got streamlined over 2 to 3 years of time, right? Or even at I am Bangalore, we streamlined again. It takes 2 to 3 iterations. So typically institutes kind of do one iteration and then really may not change process. But I think if they are iterating on the process, like at least like for 2 3 cycles, you can kind of have a good bidding process. Essentially, there are still a lot of institutes which use FCFS. See, it's not like FCFS is bad or like live bidding is good. See, each of them has its own use case. In case you want a very simple system, maybe students are very young, they may not understand a lot of complications, etc. Maybe FCFS is the right one. Maybe in case you have a wide variety of elective offerings, you have different schools, multiple batches, each student has to do a different set of credits. Maybe a closed bidding system is the right thing. If you have a very homogeneous batch, if you have a very homogeneous batch, typical business school, MBA kind of a thing, maybe open bidding is the right thing.
How do you think North American schools can benefit from the course bidding system?
Sure. In some of the North American schools, still they are using first come first serve based approaches. I think definitely they can look at closed bidding or open bidding depending on the context, essentially. So that is definitely one immediate scope of improvement that can be done in the bidding process. Even some of the schools are using preference based approaches. I believe bidding can, whether it could be closed bidding or open bidding, can drive better outcomes than a preference based approach. That's my personal opinion.
What insights do MBA offices obtain from demand estimation and course bidding rounds?
Number of courses to offer, number of sections to offer, number of seats to offer, and what kind of timetable should be in place to meet the student demand. From the bidding, essentially, once the bidding is over, once the live bidding is over, after each round, how was the student um, how was the student bid points, or what did students select at every round? After every round they have very detailed reports on how many seats were taken, how many bid points were given, what was the clearing price after every round. They also have access to dashboards, very deep insightful dashboards that can give information about faculty wise demand, course wise demand, and all of that. This allows them to kind of increase offerings in certain courses for the subsequent trimester or semester.
What do you think is better for business schools? Preference based course selection or course bidding system?
See, I personally think bidding, whether it could be closed bidding or open bidding, is better rather than a preference based thing. Because in a preference based, okay, let me also correct this, right? So these need not be exclusive, right? Preference based and bidding based need not be exclusive. We have done a very interesting system design for Shivnadar University, wherein students can give preference of the courses that they want, at the same time give bid points. So we have done a combination of both preference and bidding, which is something very interesting for North American business schools to see, because maybe these are not very exclusive. It can be inclusive also, right? Students can give essentially give preferences as well as bid points, and then there are algorithms written on the back end to kind of do the clearance essentially.
How quickly can B schools implement a course bidding system?
Okay, interesting question. Yeah, it depends on the complexity of the university or the business school. In a typical business school environment, it's like, I mean, some of the schools that we have implemented in, in less than a week also, but you can kind of say around 2 to 4 weeks is a good time for you to do the system design and then entire onboarding to happen.
Can course bidding system integrate with existing ERPs like Salesforce and Oracle?
Yes, the Registro course bidding system can kind of integrate with Salesforce or any other ERP. We have done this at Indian School of Business, ISB, wherein we have integrated our entire Registro with the Salesforce ecosystem there, wherein we get the course offerings from Salesforce, and finally the bidding output goes back to Salesforce. We can also support any other ERP for the data integration part.